How you doing, everybody? And welcome to the Biconics Wrestling Podcast review for AEW Dynamite from September 20th, 2023.
Grand Slam.
The Grand Slam, not a pay-per-view, but a event that was a Dynamite in the middle of the week event. I am John the Professor. Thank you so much. I am joined, as always, by JVL and Mikey. How are we doing? We're here. We did it.
I'm finally back.
Mikey's back. JVL's surviving. Can you breathe? Kind of breathe?
I can barely breathe out of my mouth, so I feel just like half the people on this show after all the injuries we saw.
Man, yeah, we're all kind of beat up in real life. And then if any of you watched the AEW Grand Slam from the other night, everyone's injured. Everything's falling apart. Other than that, it went great. Like, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I heard a rumor about this. I heard McMahon was in retrograde, and so everything's just going wrong. It's the biggest thing that I've been hearing. Just because
I love that McMahon is the astrology chart that dictates the rest of the industry. McMahon's in retrograde. Great. We have 30 days to make it work. Okay, fantastic.
Seriously.
How many people can be fired? How many people can be injured? How many people? It's literally everything's going wrong.
So for those of you, we're coming off that today. The news broke this morning that a lot of folks were let go. And then this afternoon, gutted NXT. A bunch of folks were let go. A lot of them weren't being used anyway, which is still sad. A lot of them were injured as well from what I'm reading and what I'm looking at. But it's a good, 20, 25 wrestlers are just now looking for a gig. And of course, the internet's going crazy.
They're waiting till December. They have till December, then they can be in a gig. So that comes up with this AEW thing, because are we going to flood AEW with more of their stuff? Are they going to go to Impact? Are they going to find some stuff in the indie scene? We don't know, but we wish them all as much luck as possible in whatever they choose to do. And we will follow you where you go, because you've been amazing so far, all of you.
Mustafa
go to Impact,
Ali,
you guys. Go to Impact.
Go to Impact. Go someplace where you're respected. There's some talent in there that I'm just sort of shocked. There's a few I wasn't surprised about, Top Dollar and a few others where I'm like, okay, I was waiting for that, but
I'm reserved till SmackDown to go off on Mustafa, because that one pisses me off the most. I was like, we literally have a pay-per-view in less than a week.
But because of that, we now have all these injuries on AEW. There may be some places that need to be filled that are coming up here, because obviously Tony Khan's got to keep going here and figure out where some storylines are going to go now that you've had some talent get pretty badly injured.
And I feel like the AEW storylines have been way more succinct, and I don't want to say easy to follow, but like I'm more willing to follow, right? Because they're still convoluted at times, but I'm willing to follow the AEW plot lines, whereas the WWE plot lines are just like, what, you just, shake an 8-ball, try again later. Oh, okay. Like, it's just all over the fucking place.
Again, McMahon's in retrograde. That's what happens to storylines. They just completely don't make sense because McMahon forgets where they are.
Gosh, do we know who made the decision to let folks go? Is this a McMahon Pritchard Dunn thing,
or part of the merger? It's part of the merger. It's everybody involved.
So I think the first thing I wanted to kind of bring up about Grand Slam actually was the fact that Grand Slam, which used to be $3.99 at Denny's, but you don't get those anymore. The Arthur Ashe Stadium is a tennis mecca. Sorry,
with the rackets. Yeah.
My fault.
It's like pickleball, but for adults.
Pickleball's a cult. Let no one tell you otherwise.
Agreed.
It's a tennis.
I'm part of it.
It's a tennis mecca. It's a really kind of weird small space, and
it's intimate for the size of what they can do.
Yeah, and that place was packed. And this ramp, they put the ramp all the way up to the ring, which I think was kind of a cool choice at first. Like, oh, that's really interesting. But then it turned into, let's all of us use the ramp, 1, and 2, nobody realized it was, 5 feet off the ground. It wasn't just a hop, skip, and a jump off the ramp. Like, that's a nice little fall to get off the ramp from the sides.
The other thing I noticed about it was, unlike like old WCW where they did this in certain ways, or some of the older shows they've done in AEW, this wasn't an incline. It was a rake on plexi. So you got momentum as you went down toward the ring before this patch of carpet was supposed to stop you. So I'm assuming it had been like an even, catwalk, the jump would have been better for some people, or like it would have been easier to gauge without as much momentum coming at you. But it seems like everyone was thrown off by the angle of the rake.
Oh yeah. I actually thought it was really cool that it was like walking on a TV. Like, it was gorgeous. There was this ramp and there were lights and stuff underneath it. And I mean, John Moxley used it to call out Fenix at the beginning of that, which, was the demise. But like, everything there was kind of awesome. But I don't think they had any time on it. This was such a strange space for them, I feel like, because it was right in between like the normal stadiums they get and like, a Knights of Columbus Hall or a YMCA where they normally wrestle, right? Like, it was this tiny little room, or this, like, it was a strange mix of spaces.
Ah, yes, the Elks Club in like downtown Brooklyn.
Exactly. Like, where are we wrestling? We're gonna wrestle under a bowling alley and above another bowling alley. Like, like in a weird tiny spots.
Yeah, no, it's in a tunnel between the alleys. The other thing I loved about it was, and they called this out in the final match of the night, was when they ripped up the flooring where usually you'd have cement, and you look at it, it's like it doesn't look right. And luckily on commentary, like, oh yeah, that's the plastic sheeting they have to put down over the thing. So it's still not forgiving. It's just not cement because it's actual grass.
It's just light cement, but it's still cement. Like, mild concussion.
Cement.
Still a concussion. God. Which we got to talk about. I loved Samoa Joe really taking care of MJF on that moment in that pile driver there and selling the shit out of it. The other thing I want to get out of the way before we rant about it too much, because I know I took too many notes about it. Cameraman. Come on, cameraman. I don't even want to say wrong place. Like, wrong shot. Like, we watch a lot of wrestling, so maybe we're kind of jaded to this and everything. I was seeing all the cues.
Yeah.
All the check-ins, all the naps, all the misses, all of the things that, you can mask in a live event. And of course, I'm not looking for it, but I'm just aware of it because I've been watching this for so long, like the rest of us, but not even trying to hide it or to support these wrestlers and to shift anywhere. Like, and again, that could be the arena. That could have been a few different things, different spots or whatnot, but I could see how that would it took me out of it a few times. I was like, caught it. Saw that. And that's not a disservice to the performers at all, but sort of, okay, are you going to even try to help them at all with the kayfabe, or are you just going to be right in their friggin' face the entire time?
Everyone's oblivious to it, just like Rick Knox. It's basically... And also, you can't just blame it on the fact there was a giant ramp in the way and they had to like call different people over and over again. Like, it just was not well plotted. So...
Mikey, you have a thought? You have an opinion? You're shaking your head a lot. You agree. I heard you're spicy, Mikey, today. Are you spicy?
Ooh, spicy, Mikey.
I'm gonna slowly get to the spiciness over this.
We're gonna hot ones this. We're gonna ramp this up.
It's a slow burn. It's gonna come right from the bottom to the back of the throat.
So this will probably get me kicked off the podcast, and I will never be able to invite it back to just our three gents.
And deleted.
Yeah. I thought this was decent, but it wasn't my. This was in the trifecta of Grand Slams because I've been watching it since AEW since the beginning.
Sure.
This one was serviceable.
Sure.
Which is great when you're on a tennis court.
Yeah. They should have done it on clay or like on grass.
This is where we get extra spicy. This was serviceable. I thought I enjoyed it. The main event was a lot of fun. If I'm being completely honest, as much as a throwaway as Rampage is, I'm actually looking forward to that more than I was with this.
Ooh. That won't get you uninvited. You can have that opinion. I'm saying I did not hate it at all. Granted, I'm not comparing it to other Grand Slams or whatnot. I think the venue kind of did them a disservice and they got in their head because from the beginning, and we'll talk about Claudio and Eddie, it looks like folks were starting to get hurt right out the gate.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone's in their head like, hey, strange space, don't get hurt out there. And then injuries start piling up.
And I'm with the professor on this one. I also thought it was not bad, but mostly because this is the first Dynamite in about a month where we had matches and promos about the same ratio. And not overly to one side and overly to the other. So it was an enjoyable, well sewn together show.
Absolutely.
It flowed, which was nice.
The promos were succinct. We'll talk about that Roderick Strong in the Hospital of Bad One because I couldn't. That was so fun. I was laughing for the wrong reasons. I think I'm warming up to that storyline and plot line now, even though it drives me nuts.
That moment had me dying. I was like, "This is so stupid."
See, and Taz had a remark which is perfect. We're just like, "What kind of a hospital is that? Like, where are you?" It's like it's some basement hospital.
CM Punk's old locker room.
They turned it into a hospital. It's the CM Punk memorial bed. That's why it sounds that way.
So hurt feelings can be fixed.
Speaking of things hurting,
so go
this
ahead.
first match, I was just like, speaking of things hurting, this match hurt me.
Oof.
This match hurt. So Eddie versus Claudio starts it out. Of course, Eddie the Homer. Everyone's juiced to see the Mad King in New York. The first, I want to say 2 minutes of this were just as close as it was almost a shoot. Like it was close, but they were rocking each other.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to feel pain, but kind of welcomed
and not
it with
show
each other.
it. And not show
yeah.
it. They were no-selling everything.
There was some great storytelling and moments in here. I do know that in real life they do not like each other, but they work well together. This is kind of their thing, right? And this is going back.
Eddie has felt disrespected in real life by Claudio since Claudio left ROH, and has felt since then Claudio's never apologized, never done anything, both in real life and kayfabe, and they've kept it going because they have such insane chemistry in the ring.
Yeah,
that was the other thing about this show. It seemed like a lot of the folks that got to work together, if they don't really like each other in real life, there's a lot of like, we know we work well together, we're going to make money doing this, I'll put my stuff aside to get it done.
Yeah,
but I can't stand you.
What an incredible, like I've been in shows with people that I was kind of meh about or had issues with.
We're in one right now.
But I've never been in a show with anyone that I absolutely hated, and I have friends who have been in theater plays and stuff like that, and they still have to do the job. I've heard some wild horror stories about that and whatnot.
It's fun.
It just seems like one of the most awkward, strange, like I'm still in the given circumstances, but I'm still feeling this because of you things. And in wrestling where, I genuinely have to chop you in the chest. I have to sell or no sell moves you do. Like, wow, what an incredible.
I have to protect you and protect myself on the better moves because they're going to get a rise. But also, do I trust you to be a good worker and do your job?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be the guy that, winks across me from across stage going, I'm about to do something horribly shitty that you've got to dig yourself out of, which I've been in a show with. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, the respect needed to do that. And that's an old wrestling thing, right? Like at any night, someone can go out there and just break your arm. You don't, because this is your job. And this is their job.
Both of you know it's better to make the money you're going to make by doing the job than being petty, because you're going to be in the long run better off making more money.
Eddie hit his head on the ramp at one point.
Yep.
Which was a really hard shot. And at the time I was like, wow, he's really selling that. That hurt him. And now I'm going back looking at it like, that probably hurt a lot. There was another thing. I'm looking at my notes. He was on his back for a long time. He had a hard time standing at one point. I think he threw his back out really early on. I don't know.
Or he was selling it very well. But yeah, he was definitely playing that up.
Yeah, like the legs were shaky like that. He was hurt from what I kind of saw at the beginning of this, and then fought through the rest of the match really, really well. There was one, there was a lot of no selling like we talked about. Claudio got him with a stiff shot, like an actual right hand that started to mouse up under Eddie's left cheekbone at one point. And I watched it this afternoon. There's no sound, but you kind of just see and feel a thud, like this boom in this shot. And Claudio knows he fucked up. Sorry, I'm swearing. Messed up YouTube. My fault. Knows he messed up.
I swore already.
We're way into it. You can swear.
Okay, good. Okay, my fault. And then does it, but then Claudio kind of reciprocates by eating a few shots. Like Eddie rocks him.
Eddie gave him receipts, like a couple of back fists right to the chin. Like,
those spinning back fist things, I don't know how he throws them and not destroying the hand, but they look so good.
From what I saw, and I don't slow it down usually, he usually gets the wrist right about below the jawline. So he's got a fist like this. It's not fisted. It's this. So yes, Mikey. And it comes across right under the jawline here on the neck. And so he can get it there, and it looks terrible, but it's not technically getting a full weight of the fist behind it.
Wow. Yeah, it just looks so violent. And again, depending on where the camera is, it's like you killed him. You've destroyed him. What has just happened?
one more perfect thing to show that snugness, though. They're on the outside of the ring by the ramp, that wonderful ramp. And then usually when he starts doing those machine gun chops, you see him napping on his chest to make the noise.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't. He was open-handed and just went at it with his hand. And you could tell he's like, I'm giving you every bit of this.
And I think we talked about this either in the group chat or even here on the podcast, where like when you think about who don't you want to get chopped from, or like who's the chop that you're like, oh yeah, I don't want that one. And of course, there's Gunther's and there's a few other ones out there. I do not want that Eddie Kingston Flurry chop because it's not the first one or the second one or the third one. It's that fourth one that's just like the blood vessels are tender, and then that fourth one comes along. That I don't want that one. Go, Mikey, go. You had a fisting thing. Go ahead.
Yes, go get fisted by Eddie Kingston. Come on.
I mean, everyone needs a hobby.
Okay.
It's time for the Mad King.
I am going to be the straightest man possible, which is hard for me. But anyways. No, I agree with what you guys have said so far. Obviously, some standout moments is when Eddie goes to attempt to do like 2 chops and it didn't work, and then just quickly just across the jawline of Claudio. I'm like, damn. And then Claudio just like walking up towards him, it's like puffing up his chest, like, what's up? What's up?
Oh.
Well, and the reverse and the Ricola bomb into the Hurricane Rana.
Exactly.
That was wild.
The Northern Lights bomb was a thing of beauty.
They just work so well together. Like whatever history they have, and whatever hatred they may have. So match happens, all these things happen. Claudio eats the pin, clean.
And we have a double champion now.
Double champion. And now it became sort of the night of handshakes. This would be the first of 3 handshakes of the night. 3 or 2, maybe just 2. But
very ROH.
A genuine like, oh, we're going to get the typical, you're going to shake hands and kick him in the stomach thing. It's like, no, it was a handshake, take the belt. Good job, I'm out of here thing, which was really classy. And kind of not Blackpool Combat Club. Like, oh, that's not how you do things around there. Oddly respectable.
Huge for them as well, because that's a show of respect.
Yeah.
Claudio has no respect for Eddie, and he showed him respect and gave him the belt.
Right.
Crazy.
Huge, right? So I don't know if what that means in real life or in kayfabe life or in general, but
you know what does that mean? That we finally get to see the ROH championship being defended on Ring of Honor. Jesus fucking Christ.
Finally. and all the promotions are guilty of this random, let's just put the belts wherever we want thing. But you're right. Why even have it if you're just going to put it in random spots?
Anyway.
So too many jokes. Where to go? Great.
We'll move on to Roddy Strong.
This is the Roderick Strong soap opera hospital scene. I love that the Kingdom has like rosaries.
Matt Taven fucking killed me with this one. Like the scene starts and Roderick's like just laying down. I was like, oh, he died. And then you have first of all you have Mike Bennett who's out here holding a balloon. And then Matt Taven's literally like he's about to drop the hottest mixtape with the rosary around his hand.
all I could see, I'm not going to sing the whole thing because we'll get flagged for it, but it's Madonna like a prayer. He's sitting there about to like one glove it and go nuts.
And then the fire in the background, and then the
so the card killed me with this neck. Like a neck injury awareness. I was okay. I said this when they did their promo at the end of Rampage when they had actual bracelets made. It's like this is neck injury awareness, and I thought it was like, oh my god. I will admit I hated it at first, and I was like, okay, I still kind of. It's so corny and cheesy, but you know what? I'll allow myself to it because
I think it's working for me now because they're owning it now.
Yes.
In the beginning, it was
so cringe.
Look at this cringy, cheesy thing. It's like if you're gonna go there, go all the way there. Go to the friggin' hospital room. Pray with the rosary. Like make it weird.
If Matt Taven lit a candle, I would have been sold even more.
I'm hearing
shushed by a nurse,
and you two would know this better. I'm hearing from the internet that this is really the only character arc Roderick Strong has ever had. Is that accurate?
Yep.
Like he's never gotten to do
it in NXT.
John,
Really?
we discussed this last week. He is Dean Malenko 2.0.
That's right. Yeah.
He really is.
Because there's a lot of folks just happy that he's doing something, which tells me that he's never done anything.
He's always been the guy who is very technically sound, that can do a backbreaker out of anywhere. Again, man of 1,000 holds. Right. Doesn't talk well on the mic, doesn't have a ton of charisma, but if you want him on the team, his cardio is amazing. He beats you up. Mm-hmm. Now they've got him doing silly stuff, and he's actually enjoying it because he gets to actually do something, and we're all enjoying it too.
Yeah.
He's literally the embodiment of what I call a suburban dad. Roderick Strong is the suburban dad of wrestling.
Cargo shorts, sandals.
He is the
dad jokes.
Dad jokes. Yeah, like, hat from the dollar store. Yeah, I know that guy.
I'm from the trip you went to that he had to get because he forgot to bring one on vacation.
Right.
It's got the town name, but you forgot what town you were staying in.
Literally, that's how this entire thing started out.
But you bought at the gas station. It's just generic name. Yeah.
And then things got interesting.
Comes Suburban White Dad on vacation.
Then in comes Suburban Dad number 2, Adam Cole.
Adam Cole's cool long hair Suburban Dad.
Yeah.
Man bun Suburban Dad.
Meanwhile, Roderick Strong's yelling Adam from the bed, and it's like I'm waking up. Adam, are you here?
Gosh,
sir, you were not in a coma. Calm down.
They should have gone full Lord of the Rings ending. Like they should have just had slowly folks coming in. Gandalf, where were you? I'm sorry, I was delayed. I think the promo got weaker with Adam Cole in there. Actually, I think Adam Cole was kind of plugged into this randomly.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of it's a funny sketch. I'm going to call it a sketch now because it feels like a sketch to me.
It really was,
in the sense that
bad SNL skit that
we're all praying over you because you're injured. Well, we all got to go. Bye. Like none of them want to stay. They all have to leave.
They had to leave because they're not getting along. So they left out of reverence to Roddy. With Adam being there, they were just going to get out of there.
Yeah.
So Adam can have his time with him, which he then just leaves, and then we get the best bed sound in all of
literally. Roger Starr's like,
and that's what it sounds like. Those things are like they're covered in plastic, and they make that sound when you sit up. And I'm glad they didn't try to cut it out.
It was a great bit. I think it was a smart bit on their part. It was funny. Taz's comment, like we talked about at the end, like, what kind of a hospital is he in? Because it's, basically a basement hospital.
Exactly.
Some serial killer hospital. So I don't know where they go with Roderick Strong, but now I'm actually interested because you're making me laugh. Like I wasn't at first. I'm still not sold on.
He's going to come out in a wheelchair next week with the Kingdom when they go out for the titles.
If you're going to do it, go big. Like make it worse. I thought it was your neck. Oh, it is. And
get him a rascal. He rides down on a rascal.
Oh my!
But it's got like a thing that holds his neck up so he can't move.
Can he please come down the rascal on a ramp and just lose control and just oh no?
I would love to see it like he crashes into the barricade, but it's not even like a horrific crash. It just lightly taps it and then he just oversells it.
Or he gets picked up and taken off it and thrown through his rascal into the barricade by somebody.
And we cut away like the old 1980s Mac and Me, like it's obviously somebody else, but it's just Roderick Strong falling down a canyon. Yeah, I think it's funny. I think it's going somewhere. Sadly, this was the premonition to Adam Cole breaking his ankle apparently or getting super hurt because
we're hoping it's a sprain, not a break. Because I will be
leg strong.
So the joke, and we're kind of ruining it at the end, we'll talk about this anyway. The joke on the internet is that now you have to do 2 hospital beds. You got to have Roderick Strong and then Adam Cole next to him with his leg up with the actual injury. And then have that awkwardness of the two of them recovering.
I need MJF to come in. What's up, Adam? What's up, generic?
Will MJF visit him? Will MJF visit him in the hospital?
Oh my gosh. See.
I mean, this furthers the story.
This is just Odd Couple. Like, this is just weird. Like,
or even better. Like, you see how bad his neck was, MJF's neck was after that thing. You've got Roddy, you've got Adam in the middle, and you've got MJF on another hospital bed.
My God.
All together in a room.
I love it.
You see, and we say this here a lot, like if it makes sense, they're not going to do it. But I think that would be fantastic. We then jump to Christian cutting a promo right after this. He has a quick 45 seconds to do it. And
it's also fantastic.
It's fantastic. I still think Christian is probably one of the top promo folks.
He's the best heel we got going on right now.
He's a fantastic heel. He's in everyone's head about daddy issues, which is fantastic. He's actually kind of sort of giving Nick Wayne the rub more than I feel anyone else is, even though
bring the boy.
Yeah. Darby's
boy is
protege.
doing amazing things because on Ring of Honor, spoiler, he's going to be facing Katsuyori Shibata, and I'm going to cry through the whole match.
I will be there to watch it right after this, anyways. Too.
I haven't watched it yet, but when I saw that on paper, I was like, "Give it to me now."
So what I'm looking forward to is a triple threat that kept not being a triple threat because we know it's a handicap match.
It's literally 2-on-1 for Collision with Luchasaurus, Christian, and Darby.
Christian keeps setting it up like he's the freaking champion, which I love.
Again, delusional Christian is awesome.
And I don't want to rant too much because we got a lot to talk about, but what is that match? It's just, hey, let's go beat up Darby.
Pretty much.
It's literally a triple threat, but
that's
beat
not
up Darby.
Be a match.
Well, it's going to be interesting because we'll see what happens because it has happening on Collision. Who's going to pin Darby?
Who's going to pin Darby? Because remember, Luchasaurus is the champion, but if Christian pins Darby in a triple threat, then Christian becomes the actual champion.
So is this going to be a Lucha Christian turn?
I don't think it's for the championship. Not that I heard.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, never mind. I missed that part.
Or does he have to coffin drop to both of them at the same time? Or like some crazy thing? I don't know. I'm just wondering how you're going to...
the meteor drop at that point to kill Luchasaurus because he's a dinosaur. So
seriously. I'm interested to see how Darby's match on Rampage Grand Slam plays into the Collision because we get the triple threat kind of, and I was like, but Darby's already okay, sure, why not? Because it's Darby and Sting versus Luchasaurus and Christian literally tomorrow at Rampage Grand Slam, which I'm also excited for.
Was it tomorrow?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh
it's
my god.
2 whole hour Rampage.
Oh my gosh.
And actually the matches look really fun.
I gotta figure out how I'm gonna watch that. So after
with your eyes.
After
and the television or computer.
I have to
maybe not the computer.
Maybe the phone.
Maybe the phone. You can use your phone. It's 2023. Use your phone. We then jump to where do we jump to? We jump to the Sammy Guevara Jericho match.
This match phoned it in. Boot. Boo.
Well,
boo.
Did they mean to phone it in? Or did they just run out of gas?
I hated this match.
What happened?
Did Sammy Guevara put chia seeds on his head and grow a bunch of stuff out of the top of it? Because it got so humid and he just went full on like Yahoo Serious, like everywhere here.
It almost had that anime hair thing, right?
He literally turned into a Dragon Ball Z character.
Yeah, where the hair is doing the acting for you, and like it sort of goes with it. Again, the match is so good. We're talking about the hair out the gate. I didn't
suck.
I didn't hate it. It felt like I didn't hate it. I felt like I wanted a lot more because Chris Jericho. I'm not saying Chris Jericho's marinating it in. I'm not saying that Chris Jericho's past his prime, but Chris Jericho tends to mail it in because Chris Jericho's a little past his prime.
He is past his prime. I said it. Deal with it.
There you go, Spicy Mikey. There you go. Have a taste of Spicy Mikey.
Lick it up.
Some of this stuff was just ugly. Sammy missed that moonsault. Missed it. Not even close. And the announcers couldn't even cover. They're like, he might have clipped him just a little bit there.
What about Jericho going to the other side of the ring and making Sammy roll over quickly to be able to take that half-ass lion salt?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Or that there was a terrible cutter there where they both, I think, forgot and remembered at the last second what it was.
That's happened to Jericho twice now with Oz, too. Like when he did Osprey couldn't get the cutter off him either.
Yeah, so there was that. I thought this match ended weird.
I actually thought it was a pretty code breaker off of the shooting star press that went wrong.
That, I will admit, was fun.
It just felt, okay, I'll say weird as an abrupt, like, that's it? That's how we're ending? Oh, okay.
Well, also, the wrong person won.
And then
isn't this to put Sammy over and get him over? Yes, you're going to put him with Don Callis, but
so I don't want to spend too much time on this one because we can talk about a bunch of other stuff. But I buy the Don Callis is here thing. I get it. And then right after this, where we have Daniel Garcia and Sammy and Khaled, like that tells me we're going somewhere with them. Okay, great.
That's going to be fun.
Just kind of unfortunate that the women got 8 minutes and 45 seconds. And then Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho got almost 20 to just kind of do a training match in front of people. In
Jericho's got to take 10 minutes to warm up. I mean, come on.
I guess.
We can't rant on this too long because I want to go off. But I'm like,
you can go, Spicy Mikey. Ladies and gentlemen, a new segment here on the AEW Dynamite Biconics podcast, whatever we're going to call this thing. Here's 30 seconds with Spicy Mikey. Spicy Mike, what do you have to say?
Spicy Mike.
Chris Jericho is past his prime. Chris Jericho is no, Chris Jericho is Chris Jericho is past his prime. There's no reason for him to have all these big matches. Sammy Guevara always gets shafted, and it always seems to be that Jericho always gets put over Sammy every single time. And honestly, normally I don't like Dick Kick City, but Sammy doing the low blow, I was just like, yeah, Sammy, you channel that actual rage and aggression you feel of all. And he's said it on public record. He always gets a push, and then they stick him back with Jericho for whatever god-awful reason.
And for any of you keeping track, Dick Kick City is a place between Tonopah and Las Vegas. It's a lonely road. Continue, Mikey. Go ahead.
It's also off the turnpike from Suplex City, but it's a little lower down in the state. So
you can see Suplex City. They sell dad hats, but Dick Kick is a little harder to find.
I swear to God, if Chris Jericho ends up near a championship, any championship in AEW, I will turn off my television.
I think it's a matter of time. I think that might be his retirement match, is winning a championship and then fading off into the sunset.
I said the same thing when he became Ring of Honor champion. I just screamed, why?
Why? Why?
So but we do know
Elba. Why?
Yeah, oh jeez. We do know why Sammy actually did do that dick kick, though, because as it's come out later, this was an homage on the same day to Jericho versus Shawn Michaels, which their attire was a thing too in that WrestleMania match, and basically just putting them down the same way.
All Elite Wrestling, we claim that we want to build and have homegrown stars. So why are we burying our homegrown stars and not letting them win?
And I heard and I saw the comparison after AEW was over of the Jericho, Shawn Michaels, Sammy Guevara, like the full image of that, the betrayal image of that. It's a cool nod for sure. I wonder where we're going.
Again, this match I felt like centered on Chris Jericho, because even Sammy Guevara came out in the fucking light up jacket that Jericho does.
Yeah. It was an homage to Jericho. To your point, Professor, I can tell you where it's going if we're going to follow the storyline. If it's a complete homage, Jericho is going to punch Tay Conti in the mouth by accident during a promo, just because of the same way they did to Shawn Michaels' wife. So I mean,
no!
I was like, wait a minute, that's right.
Let's not hit a pregnant woman.
I mean, and again, we got to wait for McMahon to be in retrograde again, and then all the weird shit's going to happen.
It's constantly in retrograde now. After the merger, they basically shut down the sun. It's constantly in retrograde.
It's nothing but darkness.
The only way this makes any sense to me, which is why it's probably never going to make sense, is that if this is like the last ride for Jericho, like if this is the last 6 months of his career, and then we're building towards something before he's gone. Now I'm willing to look back at this match and go, that's the match that was the thing that set the thing up. Again, that's probably not true, but that's the only way in my head.
Happen, probably
not going to happen. But that's kind of where my brain goes in watching this one. So like this was a training match where we were setting up a Don Callis angle, and that was about it.
Is Sammy Guevara going to come out to the brown note now too, or is he going to come out to his own thing?
I don't know. Like, what do you do?
Oof.
You build a family, but maybe you take Jericho off the active roster and you make him like Don Callis, the mouthpiece for somebody else new, because Jericho can do that, and he can take a bump every once in a while.
No issue with that.
That'd be fantastic. Don Callis is still fantastic. Like selling all the heels and Scarface and everything. Like I think it's great. So then we end up. Where do we go?
MJF pulling up in a Rari.
Oh yes.
I thought this was great. It was straightforward. Whoever the sound guy was for this one must have been pulling their hair out. There was a helicopter overhead. There was construction in the background. And then right at the top, it was like action. Suburban mom car drives by at the top. Like,
welcome to the East Coast.
Exactly.
Well, and then you got Dustin Hoffman walking across going, hey, I'm walking here. And then, there's an ant walking in the background with two tiny children on its arms. Like, there's just weird stuff happening everywhere for this. They've taken
welcome to the East Coast.
It was kind of, I don't understand, but I'm old. Let's go that way anyway. Adam Cole was kind of an afterthought in this promo, which I thought was funny. Until the very end, like, it was sort of like, I'm in the passenger seat. Oh, gotta go. But again, the truth of the thing is, okay, you just ran from the hospital. You're going to go run back to the hospital?
Because Roddy called.
Because he called? Like, okay, I guess that's okay. It sold MJF being alone.
He was preserving his spot from when he broke his leg.
Whose cars are these? Are these Tony Khan's cars? Because
It could be rentals.
MJF does not have that money. There's no way.
I mean, I would not be surprised if this was Tony Khan. I mean, rentals are off.
This is bitchin'
There's some.
card number 3, right? There was the stretch Escalade. That thing was massive. There was
the red Lamborghini he brought.
Yeah, it was like a real, like, oh my god, Lamborghini, and then this sort of bitchin' Ferrari. Like, whose mobiles are these?
I mean, it's not that far off from what McMahon did with the Corvettes and stuff that he would give to Stone Cold to break and stuff. So I mean, come on.
Well, Brock and the tractor, and Austin had a few different trucks at one point because it seemed like Steve Austin was sponsored by Ford for a while. Cute promo, had no problem. Where am I?
We're after that now. That's basically all it was. It was just setting up the thing and going that the grudge match was coming. And then we get to injury big of the night next.
Man, so then we get to Jon Moxley and Phoenix. So we'll jump right to it. The two theories out there were Phoenix lands on Jon Moxley after jumping on the ramp, doing this beautiful looking thing, and lands on his head, or the injury comes mid-air with the shoulder hitting first. Boom! And then Moxley's kind of starched and out on his feet and then comes straight down.
He falls wrong, basically. You can watch it in the replay where he turns to the right a bit and falls on his side versus what he would do at a bump, would fall on his back. Yeah. So you can tell he's dazed there. Yeah. As Phoenix came off. Phoenix didn't hit much of him. He didn't clip a lot of him, but he hit him with like a sharp edge of his knee or his elbow or something.
Mm-hmm. But I can't quite. There's not a good angle because, camera. But
and I say it again, there was more momentum coming down that rake and that angle than there would have been on a flat surface taking a run up.
Right. So that the moment it happens, Phoenix knows. The camera right there, for some reason, watches Phoenix run up, crawl to him, grab the hand for the hand squeeze check. It doesn't look like Moxley does it.
He doesn't even look at him.
Yeah, Phoenix gets in his ear, speaks to him, does it again. There might be some movement. It isn't really until the third one that Phoenix lets go and rolls away. And then you can see Moxley kind of curl his abs and try to get moving one direction or another. And in the moment, I saw it and went, oh, that looks like a hurt. Huh. And then I went back and watched the match again and went, oh, he got really messed up there. And now that I've seen it for a third time, I'm like, oh, that's horrifying.
He got his bell rung pretty bad. And of course, Rick Knox is walking around in there trying to sell in the ring because he's oblivious to everything.
Mm-hmm. Which that kind of explains to me the rest of this match, where it wasn't miscues necessarily. It just wasn't the same Jon Moxley.
It was slower. There was a lot of slowness to it.
There were a lot of pacing things where it's like, I'm going to hit you with these right hands for 45 seconds so I can have time to breathe. I'm going to take a moment to do this. I'm going to escort you across the ropes and then forget who you are while you're jumping. Like these little moments in between. We're like,
Phoenix taunting most of this match was giving Moxley a chance to figure out where in the ring he was. And then we went to re-injury or just adding to it because I'm sorry. The finish of this match, they performed one of my favorite maneuvers. Like I listed on my card as my favorite finisher, but it is super dangerous because of this. If your opponent's bigger than you are and you do ostensibly what is a Fire Thunder driver, but they called it a Black Phoenix driver or something like that. Black Fire driver. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He had his head so low because the torso of Moxley's so long that it bounced. Now it didn't compress the entire spine, but it gave him a stinger. And they flip him over, and Rick Knox counts 2. Moxley doesn't move. Moxley tried to communicate to him, hey, this is the audible. We got to put him over. You said you can see him mouthing F you to Rick Knox.
It's so great. If anyone has a chance, jump on the Reddit, go to the dark side of the internet and see this. He does the count. He slides his hand under Moxley's shoulder and goes, no. And Moxley just turns. You see spit come out of his mouth. He just goes, fuck you. And then he leans over and it looks like he gets into Phoenix's ear and just goes, do it again.
Do it again.
And he just does it again. Bam. And then
it wasn't any cleaner. It wasn't like the head bounced.
Not at all. And you're right. Like that could not have felt good. I mean, even Moxley folded over the barricade and eating that leg drop kind of thing from that distance. Or even that John Woo drop kick from like even those look safer than that.
Yeah.
So a lot of miscommunication there towards the end of that, but Moxley selling the shit out of, a match where he was basically
And then there's been fan cam footage after they went to commercial of him having trouble getting up, sitting in the ring dazed, and people yelling, "Take your vacation, please go."
Yes. It's a great clip. Where, take a vacation, John! And you just kind of see him look up like, huh? Oh, yeah, maybe. Like, he's totally not here.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting there going, Renee probably doesn't know yet. Half the guys in the back don't know. And there's that picture from backstage where they're all outside his trailer after they finally diagnosed him with a concussion. It's like, this form of entertainment, you will run into this. This is a place where you can get severely injured, especially with these type of moves. There is a reason that in the Attitude Era, McMahon stopped Rikishi from doing this as his finisher. And Rikishi's not a small man, and he actually could bunch people up on his stomach and make it look good. I love this move to death. It is devastating to look at, and pulled off in the right way is great. But it has a higher risk level of doing more damage. And if you're already not in your right mind as you're taking this move, you're not going to protect yourself. Like if Moxley had tucked his chin more and gotten up into the, Phoenix's stomach, maybe he would have been fine there, but he wasn't there. He wasn't on board.
Yeah. So Phoenix by default is now a champion. Jon Moxley, the accidental transitional champion, which is probably the universe saying Jon Moxley take some time off. Maybe Jon Moxley, you can breathe for a little while.
Spend some time with your kids because you have the arthritis of a 70-year-old man.
Oh, I heard this story. Is that true? That's what they're saying about him?
He said that. He said that in an interview. He was like, the doctor told me I've got the arthritis of a 70-year-old man.
What's Spicy Mikey think?
Spicy Mikey was worried for Mox throughout this whole entire match. And the last couple weeks we seen a running theme because my wrestling paternal instincts kicked in, even though I have no children of my own. But I felt the exact same way that I felt when Kenny knocked his head into the apron at All Out. I was like, oh God. I was like, can we not please don't get hurt? I was like, you're well, especially with Mox. I'm like, Moxley, you and Renee have a child now. Like, that's what worries me.
And for me, and I think about the professional athletes we see who are not even that old, 50, 60, 70, who are having a hard time walking, who have
in
ailments.
A lot of different sports too.
Right. Across the board. Absolutely. Right. Where you just go, oh my gosh, please. I just don't want you crippled. I don't want you, sadly, to invoke one of my heroes. I don't want you to go the route of like a Razor Ramon or even Kevin Nash, who can't walk and he's 6'8" or whatever now, right? Like, I still want you to be functioning adult and human by the time you're, just barely out of middle age. Like, I don't want you to do all the damage to yourself.
How dare you do that to Sweet Renee on double denim night of all nights?
Listen, I feel like of all the commentators that we know in the relation and what we're aware of the relationships, I'm like, Renee must be. I feel so bad for her from even in WWE too, even though it was a little more controlled, it's still the same way. Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley at the time, still was going bananas.
Yeah.
And even now, more so now in AEW, he has more freedom to do the crazy stuff. I hope Mox takes some time off, please. Please.
Yeah,
he needs to. There was one other thing that I go back and watch this and really scared about. Mox did a stomp to Phoenix multiple times, and if he wasn't in his full thing there, he put more behind it because it looked like Phoenix was selling, but he was definitely getting driven into that canvas too.
I wrote down that Phoenix sold those stomps beautifully, like whole body, full extension, legs up, down. Like,
he spiked himself.
I wonder if it's that or the inverse. He's so out of it, he can't put anything on them.
That might be.
So everything he's throwing less because he's like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. Like, barely throwing those two.
And they still looked more brutal than Seth Rollins's. So,
Right. I mean, this match was unfortunate for both people. Moxley obviously getting hurt, and this is going to be weird of me putting it this way, but it's kind of unfortunate for Phoenix as well, because I'm like, yes, he's champion, but I was just like, God, like the injury has kind of, it's the Mercedes Moné spot, as a lot of people have been calling it, because Mercedes made the audible and Willow won when Mercedes got hurt during that inaugural finals match to determine who becomes the first New Japan Strong Women's Champion.
It's tough when you win with the asterisk, right? It's tough when you win with the, oh, that happened. Well, it happened because, and you're not really earning it. Um, which you could argue that Santos Rey Mysterio, he hit his head thing is kind of in a similar like that, messed up a lot of plot lines. And what are we doing? And we're still kind of in the throes of what the crap just happened.
Right. But also, Tony Khan is notorious for when these things happen, not knowing how to get himself out of it. Like,
Sure.
he never books the champion well that had to take the championship on because he never planned for it. And it seems like he's going to have this again with like, okay, Fenix wasn't my champion that I was thinking I was going to book this stuff out for, and we're going to make Fenix defend it every week now. Is he going to be different? He brought it back to Death Triangle, but like he's not.
I have an evil idea, and I think this might get me in trouble, but I have an evil idea just from a fun perspective of booking it.
Okay.
So you have Fenix, who's now your AEW International Champion. You have another person on the roster who technically is a Latin American champion.
Yes. No. No. I do not need those belts combined. I do not need that anytime. I do not need QT Marshall. I do not need him on my channels.
Again, Spicy Mikey is out of control tonight.
No, I again, like, I don't
just want Fenix to have a good feuds, and I'm trying to figure out like who else on that roster he can have one with. Yes, I know the International Championship has become the workhorse, work rate title where you basically defend it against anybody. And I'll save my thoughts for more later, but my biggest problem with AEW is it's like, yeah, the stories are fun, but it's just like they're always in short bursts. They never go for longevity. And it always, especially this year, it seems feuds go from pay-per-view to pay-per-view or even pay-per-view to the next few weeks, and then that's it.
Tony's gun shy after getting people injured for whatever long-term booking he was doing last year, coming into this year.
Well, and I mean, Adam Cole was out for what, 8 months? 9 months?
Not Britt Baker. Jamie Hayter's still out.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder Rose has been out for a while. You lost a bunch of people.
Yeah, and I would be scared to be out for too long because I don't want to, get cut either. Like how you're injured, we got to move on.
That stings.
So moving on from this to the 8 minutes of Saraya Toni Storm. They deserved way longer, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I feel like the men ran over, so they kind of got screwed here again, which
this was also weird because we had that 4-team dueling promo behind this. So it's just like, well, I'm gonna save it till the end. I'm gonna run down the bumpers for Rampage,
Grand
Slam, but
which I had some questions about too. Was like, wait, we're doing what?
I will tell you it because as your Rampage correspondent, I will fill you in. But listen, I was upset that this match was only 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Again, 8 minutes, 40 seconds or so, yeah.
Tonith Khan, what are we doing?
Tonith.
So he's tone deaf. That's what he is.
Tone deaf, and I am the biggest Tony Khan hater when it comes to the women's matches, but I think I have to give this show a little bit of grace.
Please do.
Moxley was in the ring, recovering. They didn't want to move him. And that was the match before this. So they were checking on him to get him out of the ring and get him set up. He wasn't like that was part of the overrun. So I can't say that's all of it, but I feel like they had to shave some off because they knew the main event was going to go long. They knew that they had promos built up, but they didn't know how long they needed to take to get Moxley out of the ring.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think that the Jericho-Sammy match was really bloated. They took a lot of time. It
shouldn't have been that long.
It took a lot of time in between some of those spots and those things.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I wonder if this might have been supposed to have been quite a bit longer, maybe even pushing 10, 12, 15 or so.
I think so. But
I would hope so.
My biggest complaint was at 8 minutes, but my God, this was a fun match.
I loved it. I had a blast. Again, I'm notorious for this now because I watch the matches. I don't take notes during the women's matches because I'm watching the matches.
Yeah.
I think Toni Storm is doing something really interesting and fun.
Fucking entrance. This is my favorite thing right now.
Kicking it to grayscale, which is a nice little touch, and then having to own how big that is just fantastic. So the Outcasts are not a thing. We're not a thing anymore. There's no Outcasts banners. Toni Storm had one last time, but it didn't matter. It was the wrong music, and she just kind of rushed out. So the Outcasts are done. We're done?
I mean, you've got
Well,
Saraya and Ruby Soho, who are technically still the outcasts.
But then there was no Outcasts colors. There was no banner. There was nothing.
Well, that almost made me think Tony was going to win that night too, because they gave Saraya her own entrance. It wasn't like a thing like that, so that's why it was very interesting to me.
I kind of felt Tony was going to win too, and I'm not sure if it was the match or the announcers or what, but I was definitely like, "Oh my gosh, she's going to drop the belt just after less than 2 weeks."
I don't think we're done with Tony and Saraya. In
No,
all
probably not.
honesty,
I don't think so.
I got very worried about the fact of that. How is this match going to run with two heels facing each other?
Sure.
How they were going to, because they're not in Britain where Saraya was going to play face no matter what.
Mhm.
These are two heels. They are both
Technically.
heels, but Tony's getting over for being heelish.
Tony is the crazy face. Well, at least I hope she becomes crazy face.
Exactly. So I was worried about it, and I shouldn't have been, because they really went down in a very fun way, and playing around with different things with the ref and making things work. And the threat of breaking Saraya's neck again on a hip attack.
Oh my
I was
God.
involved. I was invested.
Which I will say, there was one time the cameraman was in the right position the whole night, and it was that one.
Yes.
I loved her crawling under the ring to get the shoes.
Yep.
And Ruby
throwing shoes at people.
She got rocked with them shoes, man. Those
Yes,
that sounded brutal.
Listen,
and I kind of
if you've had women's shoes thrown at you, you know those things are deadly and they hurt.
If I've been hit with a shoe. I deserved it, and I will never
high
forget.
Heels, pumps, wedges, but nothing. And Professor can probably attest to this. There's nothing more worse than the dreaded chancla.
No, yeah, you don't want those. Yeah, all bad. I can tell some of those stories because I'm asked a question once about what do those feel like, and a Mexican woman showed me, and I understood very quickly. And I also have a complex, and that probably explains a lot about me. I thought
Tony
that was
Stark gave me a complex tonight, and we'll get into that.
So I know your bisexual heart grew 3 times this day. Is this Tony Storm kiss of death thing going to be a thing? Because
I'm kind of here for it.
That's going to be. That's why I thought she was going to win. I thought this was like this beautiful kissy moment. Bam! It's over. Oh my God! Like
literally catch them off guard and just bam. And personally, I love it because I'm like, you go, Tony Storm. I was like, I see you actual bisexual woman out here.
Yeah.
I was also surprised because Saraya, when she was Paige, had the same thing done to her by AJ Lee, and it shouldn't phase her by now.
Oh, we've talked about this. That's right.
But Saraya is still caught off guard with very hot
Australian love.
Exactly.
I mean, Australians have a certain power. Let's be real.
Mommy, hello.
It's just what they do. I had this match was so much fun. I liked everything about it. I had no issues with it. Hiding the spray can in the turnbuckle, which made me wonder how long has that been there? They've been using that all night.
Those contents are under pressure. That's not a good thing.
Wouldn't it be great if it had some other match? It just goes whoosh, like during the thing. Like, what just happened?
Shrapnel.
Thought this was a lot of fun. I think it's probably. I mean, it was the only match where nobody got totally destroyed and hurt. It was the only match where I wasn't worried about the safety of the other people in the ring.
Yeah.
It was the only match that I felt furthered a storyline where I'm like, okay, I want to see where you go instead of, oh shit, where are you going to go? It was exactly what it needed to be. It's great.
And the crowd reaction around the outside was also great. Watching the hard cam and seeing all the people
so
right there in
good.
front. They were into this part of it like the whole time. It was really fun.
See, Tony Khan, let your women thrive, and we can get really fun matches like this. Just give them more time. But
yeah, you got 41 of them. You're using the same 7. And these three we've seen a lot.
And we realize you only have 2 belts to put on people, but still you can do other things with them.
Chris Statlander out here really double main eventing like 2 nights in a row last week. I love it. Well, her match was on Rampage, so prior to the main event, we get a rundown of the cards for Dynamite, a little bit of Collision, and then this is where I said it at the top. I'm excited for this 2-hour, Grand Slam Rampage because these matches actually look really, really fun. So, really quickly, these matches are Mike Santana is going to be in a match, obviously
against Ortiz.
I don't think it's going to be Ortiz.
It's been announced. He's fighting ortiz, that is what they're doing.
It's in the group chat. Someone sent that in the group chat.
I don't think it's officially confirmed. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to tune into Rampage.
I heard it on
It's in the
Cultaholic
group
today.
chat, Mikey.
Well, they're gonna fight eventually, but not at Grand Slam on Rampage.
I heard it in Cultaholic. That's what they're setting up.
All right. Well, if it ends up happening, cool. I guess I missed that. Apparently, we have a 6-person tag, which is going to be
Mike
Orange
Santana versus Ortiz. Okay, yep.
Hook, Orange Cassidy, and Chris versus Anna Jay and Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange. So
I love that.
I am overly into this for some reason. I want to see this so bad.
I'm really excited for that.
Darby and Sting versus Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, as we talked about earlier.
But then Sting can't be in the ring. Sting can't.
That's
Sting's
Collision.
not allowed.
Collision. He's not allowed to be at ringside. He can be there for this
is on
match
Rampage, which is on
wait, we're running.
Friday.
So they're doing this twice.
Yeah,
Rampage.
They can't put another women's match on there, so they got to run this match 4 times.
Weird.
Well, yeah, it's weird. Well, we do get a women's match, though, on this 2-hour Rampage, because it was just announced that it's going to be Sky Blue versus Julia Hart. And I'm like, yes, I'm kind of here for that.
So it's the House of Black versus Blue.
Yes, Black and Blue. Let them be a tag team.
A lot of
then
jokes
we
per
get
second.
into probably, your championship matches, but I'm excited. So you have the Hung Bucks versus Mogul Embassy for those 6-man Ring of Honor tag team championships. God, please let it be better than the FTR Young Bucks match and pretty much their all-out match.
Which sidebar, not to cut you off, I'm doing fight choreography for a show not about an hour from here, and one of the gentlemen in the show is a tall, dark, and handsome black man. And we were talking professional wrestling, and he goes, "Oh yeah, well I do the indies. I work this. I work this." It's like, "Oh really?" He worked the AEW Dark when I went and saw it a year ago. He worked it. He's been on TV 3 or 4 times. He's been on YouTube a handful of times. He's training with all these folks. I was telling, "Oh yeah, well so and so," and Brian Cage is like, "Oh yeah, Brian's awesome. Brian's super cool." Since we were talking Embassy, like all these folks work. And then he started to say something and he caught himself. And I was like, "What are you going to say?" He's like, "I can't tell you. You're on a podcast." I'm like, oh, look at me. Look, I'm an insider. You can't give me information. But about the inner workings and how AEW was doing stuff. So just because you just reminded me bringing up the Embassy. I'm excited. Carry on.
Does he have a ring name we should promote? I mean, should we get him on the podcast?
I gotta get it. Dudes. Oh man. Beautiful. Sultry voice.
Again, why do you know all the hot people?
When you're a C+, you attract the A minuses. What's interesting is
flock to me, A minuses.
My wife just yelled from the couch, "I'm an A+. Sorry, my fault."
We're keeping it in.
Great on a sliding scale.
So
I know how to grade things.
We'll get back to the hotness scale.
There's a curve. She's got a couple.
So again, Hung Bucks versus Mogul Embassy for the 6-man Ring of Honor, tag team championships. A fatal 4-way to determine who becomes number 1 contender for the Ring of Honor tag team championships, which is the Righteous, the Kingdom, the Hardys, and Best Friends? Question mark. I was like, how did we get you in here? Okay, sure.
That's going to be wild. I really hope the Hardys.
Best Friends are taking that pin.
Yeah. I don't know. The Hardys might.
Oh, that might be too, because that'd be interesting.
Yeah, and I just don't want the Hardys to get burst into dust or anything like that.
Honestly, on paper, I'm actually really excited for this last one we have for 2-hour Rampage because I've actually enjoyed the build.
Do anything off the ramp and kill himself.
True.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
I said, hope Jeff doesn't do anything off the ramp to kill himself.
Gosh, please no.
I wonder where this ramp goes.
Please.
Oh shit.
But anyways,
I'm out of coal.
Then what is bound to be a great time? The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn taking on the Dark Order for the AEW Trios Championship match. I've actually really enjoyed the build, and I said it in my Collision review last week that John Silver and Anthony Bowens was my favorite match of Collision, and that was tough because I really enjoyed Chris versus Britt too, though I had my issues with that match. So that is what we have for literally tomorrow for Rampage. So that should be fun.
Rampage.
That'll be fun. Yeah, I might actually try and. Well, I gotta make a decision between that and SmackDown because I gotta watch SmackDown.
It's not a hard decision. It's not a hard decision.
But I'm hired to do SmackDown here.
Listen,
It's not a hard decision.
I don't want to say it, but you know what? I have my wild cards in my pocket, so Luis is willing to jump in anytime. You just tell me what you want to do, and we'll go from it.
Yeah, I might have both going at the same time.
Please don't do that.
It's going to be like the Attitude Era, going back and forth between WCW and Nitro and Raw.
I used to do that all the time. All the time.
There we go.
Well, since we're throwing it to the throwback era, so this main event, our entrances to begin with, Jesus, like Sweet Dragoon on a cracker, MJF's entrance, like the video package before.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what a throwback.
So I can't think of the name of the football player that this is a throwback to.
Mean Joe Green, but it's actually a throwback
to Joe Green. Right, to throw back to the towel and the thing in the Coke commercial from the 70s, way, way back. I thought that was adorable. I love MJF playing pure Homer. I think that was really funny. Like this obviously homemade jacket of just patches from teams.
He has Mets colors.
The straight Mets colors and Mets colored shorts. I thought was great. Samoa Joe, when it's full heel Samoa Joe, dude's terrifying. Like
he is so terrifying.
Can be just horrific. I had to go back to take notes on this one because I got really wrapped up in watching it because I thought it was a really great match. I was going to say this. I don't want to say this anymore because I don't want to be mean to MJF. So I'll wait till the podcast is over. The fact that MJF got this kangaroo kick over and a thing is just a testament to how good he is.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the stupid thing from a month ago and you're all going to love it when I pull it back out of my pocket. I thought that was great. There was some stiff shots here. Like they earned it. Like they were rocking each other really hard the first half of this, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were going at it.
I thought like we talked about earlier, Samoa Joe goes out of the ring at one point, rips off the plastic protective layer of the concrete to expose said concrete, does a pile driver, but is super safe, eats it all on himself, completely takes care of MJF. MJF goes stiff as a board, oversells it. It's fantastic. And the cameraman catches everything and ruins it. If the dude had been anywhere else, this one is another camera shit show.
Cameraman, you're fired.
If it was just a little here, little there, little this, little that, maybe they were limited because we're on a tennis court. I don't know.
Got the same dimensions as every other time except for the ramp.
I get right. Like I was trying to give him credit, but I guess not.
Ugh. Yeah.
So, and then before we talk about Adam Cole's snafu, we're in this weird MJF doing the heel tricks to beat the heel thing. And
the eye poke, these
eye pokes, the ring is hidden, eventually winning the match by garroting Samoa Joe and trying to hide it in his armpit. Luis brought up a great point before, like you got to be really, really good to pull that off. And MJF is kind of pulling it off in a sort of non-traditional way, in my opinion, where we're not looking at him as like a stone cold anti-hero or
he's going Ric Flair. He's going full Flair.
It's much more that. It's much more showboaty and you're cheating, but I love you, so it's okay, which is a horrible way to be manipulated, I guess.
He's got everybody eating out of the palm of his hand.
Yeah. What'd you think?
As I said, the camera was annoying. There were some really great hope spots between the two of them.
Yeah.
Trying to get Joe up for a couple of things was great. Max like really selling like I was trying to get him up for a pile driver before he got pile drove, and the neck is what tweaked so he couldn't pick him up. Like it was well played through, well thought through, and the pacing worked. There were finisher kick out. Like we did spam it at the end, but it made sense for all the work they had done to get there and the damage they had done.
Yeah. I loved the choke, the sleeper hold spots. Yeah. I thought those all sell. Like there comes a point where like maybe sometimes you do one too many, but they really sold each of those. So I had no problem with those. I think it's kind of funny that we just don't DQ people ever anymore. You can get a table and just rock somebody. Doesn't matter. You could bite someone's,
I was wondering about that.
You could bite someone's face. Doesn't matter. You can bite someone's leg. Doesn't matter. Did MJF have a blood capsule? Did you guys
I
catch
didn't see
this?
one.
He goes and bites Samoa Joe, does this whole mouth joke, fair bite, comes back, does the flip off the turnbuckle, and has blood everywhere. So it was a nice touch, but I was also like, where'd that come from? What'd you do?
Bit my tongue.
So I don't know. We get to and again, in the last injury of the night, Adam Cole running to speak to and save Spicy Mike is upset, coming to save the MJF. Jumps. If you go and watch it, I think he's way farther up the ramp than he thinks he is.
Yep.
I think he thinks he's near the edge. The ramp is still at the incline, and he lands hard, and he knows right away. He takes 2 steps to try and crawl. He barely can, and then he kind of skips his way to where he needs to be. And the rest of the time, Adam Cole's in the shot. He's struggling. At the end, after MJF wins and pulls it off, and after the handshake, you could see Adam Cole like go to take a step and then just shake his head and go, nope, and then grab the rope and stand there like, yep, this is bad.
You see him also talking to the refs outside afterwards during the celebration too, like he's bent down, like saying to somebody like, I think I screwed my knee up.
Mm-hmm. So do you think, is it knee, ankle, or just all the things?
They're saying knee.
They're saying knee.
They haven't said much yet, but they're saying it's a knee injury.
Woof. That makes me sad. Because an ankle, you could go soft tissue.
Yeah.
As long as it's not Achilles. But if it's knee, that's sad.
The hope is that it's a sprain or it's something bad, but it could have, like, he was able to walk around on it, so I don't think it's an MCL or an ACL, but it's still pretty bad.
I like the ref selling getting hurt and coming back. I think that was a cool storytelling bit in this match. I liked the ending of this. I thought this was a really cool way to end. I didn't hate it. We had another handshake moment with Samoa Joe and MJF, which is kind of a throwback to, 19-year-old MJF, and now being 27, 28 years old, fighting Samoa Joe now, and there's sort of this handshaky thing there. I kind of like the bookend of that. There's some moments I felt like I kind of wanted more, but that might have been because the whole night was kind of up and down, so I'm kind of chalking it up to that.
And for some of us, we missed most of the matches because there was picture-in-picture in every match.
We haven't talked about it, but picture-in-picture was rough this time.
Yeah.
Not for me.
I know. Spicy Mikey figured it out. It ate up half that women's match, ate up half that Moxley match.
Horrible.
I want to say it was a good chunk of the end of this one. Like, we missed parts of the middle and the end of the Samoa Joe MJF.
The same with an exchange in the first match. There was picture-in-picture in every match we had. Even the Jericho one, there was picture-in-picture.
I am gonna figure out a British feed because it's driving me nuts. Part of me wants to know what they're saying. Yeah. I want to know what they say when there's no picture, when they know we're not listening. So
this match was fun.
What'd you think? Yeah, why was it fun?
Some highlights for me: the Death Valley driver on the apron was dangerous but beautiful.
He took it in the middle of his back, like not even the shoulder. Like
even Taz commented on that. Like, that looked like it hurt.
Of course, the pile driver onto the concrete was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that was beautiful. I love that Samoa Joe's out here attacking everybody. He attacked the medics.
Mm-hmm. My
Didn't
son
touch
saw
Doc
that.
Sampson, though.
Yes. My son came in and looked right as Samoa Joe was just rocking security guards, and my son's like, "Why is he doing that?" He's angry. Oh, and just bodies flying everywhere.
And they sold it well too. But you can see also that he's not touching Doc Sampson. He's just touching everybody else, as he doesn't touch the real medic.
Right.
And I love the fact that Adam Cole helped MJF through some shady tactics, win. And I was like, oh boy.
I think it's interesting that we talked about this before too. We have this Adam Cole getting more heel to help his buddy MJF, but trying to tread the water in between, right? Walk that line, if you will. I don't know what that means. Or if it is a ring psychology thing, if we're building up to Adam Cole cheating someday.
Well, he cheated during the match they had at All In, or
Well, sure.
So he's not beyond it.
No,
but he's definitely going to a darker place, being with Max.
Yeah,
and going back to an older Adam Cole.
Interesting. I was thinking my brain checked out. I was at a moment like,
and that was Dynamite Grand Slam.
That was Dynamite Grand Slam. We have two scales here. We have the empanada scale and we have the mini scale. We could use either one for this one. What do you think?
I feel like our guest should be the one that decides.
Oh, Spicy Mikey. Is there a spicy Mikey scale?
Is there spiky?
Spiky scale. Spiky Mikey?
We're spiking the empanadas. No, just kidding. With more spiciness.
Ooh, even.
How many mini empanadas?
You know what? We're going to combine the two. They're like empanadas in the shape of Minnie's head.
Oh, God.
Oh, like the paninis where you can put faces and logos on them? That's adorable.
I saw his face in an empanada.
You are the chosen one.
Minnie is the second coming of wrestling god.
Oh, God.
I bring you
He
empanadas.
is the second coming of Goldberg.
Minnie is? Oh, Minnie. You're going to ruin my career with a kick to the head. Mikey, what do you think? Spicy Mikey.
Spicy Mikey, who really didn't really have a lot of spiciness, apparently.
I mean, you were an accent. You were delicious.
You were like white people taco night spicy.
Yeah,
like,
you can't overuse Spicy Mikey, right?
I was the tilde on the I.
Spicy.
I love it. But on the mini empanada scale, since we're combining it, we're still gonna use it out of 5. I'm gonna give it like a 3 out of 5, like mini empanada scale. Again,
sure.
Nothing inherently wrong. Obviously the last couple of weeks of Dynamite, and I haven't had to be reviewing it, but this was a lot better than the last couple of weeks. And again, I think it's just because we actually had some breathing room, because the weeks into All In, then All Out was just suffocating and everything was like all over the place. And then we kind of got back to, everything being paced well. Obviously, as short as it was, I thought the women's match was a lot of fun. This main event was a lot of fun. Of course, the only stinker is obviously Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. I will die on this hill. This was my least favorite match of the night.
You die on a lot of hills every week.
Yeah, I mean, stop going up the hills, man.
Yeah, just stop dying up there.
No, like Kate Bush,
you can go up the hill.
Stop running up that hill. Okay.
Claim on the hill. Like, take the hill. It is your hill.
I will reclaim it like Maxine Waters wants to reclaim her time. So. Yes, that has become my new favorite phrase. But so 3 out of 5 mini empanadas. I enjoyed most of it. Obviously, Sammy versus Chris is not my cup of tea. It can go burn in the fire of hell for all I can care, because I hate seeing Jericho keep winning, especially against Sammy. And Sammy always gets thrown back with Jericho every time he gets a push. I don't know. Listen, I'm trying to root for my Latin brothers out here. Okay, I want to see Sammy thrive. He is thriving because him and Ty are about to have this beautiful baby when it gets born. That's gonna be
have the same hairstyle he had last night.
It's gonna be a cute ass kid.
If that baby comes out with full Sonic the Hedgehog, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So 3 out of 5. Chris Jericho versus Sammy was not my cup of tea, and the unfortunate circumstances behind the International Championship kind of brought it down a little bit. Yeah. But again, the rest of this was fine.
JVL, what'd you think?
If I'm doing the mini empanada scale, like I said, it was better than the last couple of Dynamites we've had to watch, and better than a lot of the Promo Fest 2023 we've gone through. So I would probably give this closer to a 3.75 to almost a 4. Really good. But then we realized again, we had an 8-minute women's match and nothing else on there. So what do? Because Tony can't count, book his damn women. It takes a full one off of there. So we're at 2.75 for this one.
I buy that. I'll use the out of 10 mini empanada scale. I'll bump it up
10 mini empanadas.
That's how I
greedy.
Do my math. Greedy. All of them. I agree with you. This should be an 8.5 out of 10 empanadas. Absolutely should be. But again, the cut time for the women, even though I know it was for an injury and you'd like to think that it was a longer match, but we will never know. They deserved more time to let that breathe, to put that in there. I would take a little bit off just because of ring awareness, and it's no one's fault, but the environment of the place seemed to do them a disservice, absolutely, and kind of make it a little clunky, as I've been known to say. Because, injuries happen, accidents happen, but when you have a night like this where they keep happening, that tells me something's wrong. We're in someone's head. Like,
we know why it is.
What do you think?
McMahon is in retrograde.
God damn it, McMahon's in retrograde. That's why.
That is our next T-shirt. Is McMahon is in retrograde.
McMahon in retrograde. It's just his face. Like, all right.
As a constellation.
Make sure to tune into the SmackDown review because we're gonna go off for sure.
Please use McMahon in retrograde.
We're putting it on a T-shirt.
I cannot. I'm almost nervous walking into SmackDown tomorrow after today. Like, what the hell is it going to be?
Watch Rampage and don't worry about it.
So Professor's in a nice precarious position because he gets to choose. I have to be there regardless.
Yeah, you've chosen this purgatory, Mikey. Good luck. So I agree with you. You got to take some points. You got to bring it down a notch for those things. So it's still 7.75 pushing 8 when it should be pushing 9. I agree. You got to take a little bit down from there. Mikey, tell them about the socials. How do you find us?
I love it. I'm
very carefully,
very meticulously and carefully, but no.
Look for a 3 size too big biconic heart somewhere.
Yeah, I just throw it to you because I forget every single time because I'm a host. Just like, have a good time, and we're out there somewhere. Yay!
Yep.
Well, if you like what we do here at
do you want me to give it a shot, and then you can tell me?
This.
You can tell me. Okay. Are you okay? Are you too spicy for this?
No, I got this. Learn from the
22.
Learn from the master.
You have your OnlyFans shirt. Everything's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be good.
Totally. So if you like what we do here at the Biconics and you enjoyed the Just R3 Gents review, you can check out other reviews from the 3 of us at some point, as well as all the other reviews we do here on the Biconics YouTube channel. We pretty much review everything, both in the good and bad. And be prepared because we're going to go off the next couple of days. It's going to be great. You think I'm spicy? Wait until you have the 9 of us be spicy all at once.
Yeah, wait till you hear from Lewis. I'm sure there's some opinions there.
Oh, I can't wait for next week with Will because he's about to go off.
Oh, Will? Mm-hmm. Andrew's a fireball right now. Andrew's not happy.
It's going to be great. So if you want to see us go off even more, you can check us and follow us out on the social medias at Twitter, Instagram. We have a Facebook page now, which is great.
We're on the Facebook?
We're on the Facebook.
People can find us.
We got to hit that 60 to 75 demographic.
Giggity. Anyways. So you can follow us at the Biconics Wrestling Podcast across all those social medias, BC WrestlePod for short. And if you think this is unhinged, you should check out the actual Biconics Wrestling Podcast where we're even more unhinged. Our latest episode just dropped not too long ago where the professor, myself, Minnie, and our newest member, Andrew, we try to stay on track and talk about our favorite wrestlers outside of WWE and some of our favorite matches. And then we get into like a 45-minute conversation about this conspiracy theory about the TKO merger. It is great.
It's really good. It was
absolutely wonderful. And we need a side podcast to go into this conspiracy theory and dig it up.
We absolutely need a wrestling conspiracy theory podcast where we just go full Pepe Silva on all kinds of weird stuff in the wrestling world.
I love it. But you can find that podcast where any podcast can be found: Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, as well as a bunch of other sites that there's too long of a list to name.
Jeez.
But I'm so happy to have been able to guest. It was so nice to be back with you, gentlemen. But
you bring a wonderful, spicy energy to this podcast that we never usually have sometimes. Usually just 2 idiots making fun of each other.
Yeah, which is the name of our book, 2 Idiots Making Fun of Each Other. It's going to be very hard to write, but it's a good book.
It's coming from Random House in 5 years, we hope.
Did you say it was from Random House? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's it can't be Penguin. It's got to be Random House.
And on that lovely note, I am Mikey, of course, joined always by JVL and the Professor for Just Our 3 Gents. Thank you so much for tuning into this review. We're excited for you to come back next week, but until then, adios, sayonara, and be biconic. We'll catch you later.